done. Yes.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Create Your Best Chapter. It's actually been a while since I've had a guest on my podcast, and so I'm super excited to have my new friend, Amanda Bentley, here with me. And we were just chatting before we hit record, Amanda. And first of all, I'm so excited to have you here. You're just such a bright, shining light, and I'm so thankful that I met you, and I'm really curious to dig into your story a little bit more and hear about your transformation and how you're creating this new chapter of your life. And we were chatting before we hit record about divorce, and you've been through a divorce, and we don't want to dwell on the negative parts of that, but I do want to hear a little bit about your story in terms of how was that journey for you, and how did you get yourself out of a negative place there into where you are right now, which is really positive and forward moving. So I'm going to just turn it over to you, and you go with it where you want to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's I like doing these podcasts. I love talking, and I if I can help in any way for anyone else out there going through something similar, and I get emotional when I kind of talk about it because it's a big thing. It's a big life event for people to go through, and it's very easy for people to stay in a bit of a bitter or negative place. And I'll talk a bit about it. And I know I was in that place and I'm not anymore. And it feels so freeing not to be.
Mm-hmm.
um, but just like I'll try not to make it a really long story. But so at the start of COVID, I had just ended my horse training. Well, COVID kind of forced me to end my horse training and riding instruction and business. Um, and at the same time, I had Preston, who was 6 months old at the time, and my daughter, who was three. And it was a lot to like lose that little bit of identity of me that like the horses and the training and the teaching meant so much to me. So to go from that, literally, you feel like the next day, like you're stuck at home, you're with the kids, and my marriage wasn't in the best spot at that time, and which ultimately ended up in divorce. So my ex, is now my ex, he was working lots. He's working long late hours, so it was mainly me taking care of the kids at home. And for all the women out there who have done that, it can be pretty isolating. As much as you love your kids, it's pretty isolating. And I, at that point, didn't have much adult contact. So I actually, with the little bit left, because I felt like I lost some of my identity, I um, I reached out and started doing online group dance lessons.
Mm.
And so that was actually with Gleb Savchenko from Dancing with the Stars. And so there was about a group of 15 to 20 of us that ended up doing these dance lessons, and I was literally learning how to ballroom dance in my kitchen. So like this was the one thing that kind of helped me kind of regain my confidence. And so we used to do these lessons 2 to 3 days a week. We'd be learning all the Latin dances, and it was really nice to connect with people. Um, and I still haven't met some of these ladies in person, but like we are still really good friends and keep in touch online. So I think that dancing and trying to like learn a new skill while I was going through some tough times has actually been between not having the horses. That was really hard on me. So like being able to learn the dance and sort of start to like myself again sort of was my spark at that time to kind of make me feel better. So I'm kind of telling the short version of that story. So, anyways, Gleb and the dancing and that community really helped me kind of gain the confidence to keep going in a time where I could have just chosen to be down and depressed. So, uh, for going forward a little bit more, um, because I kind of regained that confidence from that, I was able to look at starting. I had a PJ business in which I got PJs from LA, and I still kind of have that on the side right now. But I had that business, which was great. But there was always something about me where I'm like, I always have it in me to want to like really help people and do like more. And so a lot of people said to me, you tend to just be really good at connecting other people. Like if someone needs something, they tend to just call me and ask me, hey, I'm trying to find someone to help me with this. Where do I go? So someone's like, you need to figure out a business where you can like be a bit of a connector and help people. And so through what I did with the dancing, I started this Amanda Networks. So it was, and I also started doing a lot more marketing courses with Lindsay to learn a lot more about digital marketing, marketing yourself, putting yourself on video, all that sort of thing. And I don't think I could have done that had I not gone through like the dancing experience and put myself out there over Zoom. So I did that. And it's great, but like I am gonna say like that was sort of like a side thing. And I've also been like career wise, I was trying to get back in the workforce. And so I'm a single mom. I take care of the kids, trying to find a position where I could drop the kids off, pick them up from school, and be there for them when they're sick. Because if they're sick, I need to be there to be able to take care of them. And so I was constantly putting my resumes out and getting rejection. And so instead of like this is where my whole embrace the pivot comes. So instead of getting upset, which I'm not going to lie, I was getting upset. I was getting a little bitter. I was getting frustrated. But instead of staying in that zone, I was like, okay, that's okay. I'm just going to keep thinking. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep, trying to create my brand as well as send my resume out. We're going to see what happens. And ultimately, it's ended up in like a great place where I am at now, which I can talk a bit more in a bit. But like regarding the whole divorce thing, it's it I was in a place when it first happened, like I'm sure a lot of people go, like there's a lot of grief and there's a lot of sadness because you never thought this was ever going to happen to you. And when you get in that state, I found for myself, I got in a very angry, bitter kind of place. And you almost feel like it in your body where like everything like you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out, you're trying to co-parent with your ex, and you'll send a I find text messages so they could be read so many different ways, right? So I was just taking everything personal, and so I got to a point where like between my ex and I, we oh, how do I say this? I guess I came to a lot of like accepting the way things were, which was, you can choose to fight over like little things and messages and different co-parenting things. And like I used to always fight back and like be super really defensive. And then like I kept thinking that doesn't really benefit like my kids or myself because it puts me in this negative toxic state, and when you're in that state it's almost sometimes hard to get out of it, if that makes sense. So like I came to a place of more compromise, which is sometimes challenging when you're co-parenting and going through a divorce, but I've sort of risen above, and I'm willing to work with my ex for the kids' sake and also for like my own mental health. And some people do think at some point, like sometimes, like I'm too nice, and it's like I don't want to come off like that. However, I want to also do what's best for my kids and my mental health. I think there's compromise in what I'm doing and what we're doing for the sake of the kids, but it's also still like it's challenging, but it's much better to be in a place of like a little bit more acceptance and letting go and working together as opposed to the constant fight, because the constant fight just did nothing for me but like consume me, and it
Mhm.
just it didn't help me or where I wanted to go with my business or anything. In fact, it sort of deterred it from that because you spend so much energy and time on the stuff that's negative or challenging. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. And I mean, there's a lot of questions that come from that. But one of the things that I'm hearing as you talk about your journey, the through line that I'm hearing is choice, right? Like you decided to do something about it, right? Like you decided I need to take action because I'm feeling disconnected, right? So you started the dance,
Yeah.
right? And then I need to take action because I need to make a decision to do something different. I need to decide to feel something different because how I'm feeling is not serving me. And so I think to me that's super empowering, and it's such a powerful reminder to people that we do have a choice even when we're in the midst of something that's really challenging, that is negative, right? That can get us down, and that we have a right to feel angry about it. We have a right to be grieving through that, and we have a right to be sad about it. But we also have a choice what we're going to do with that. And it's interesting that you say the word bitter because I was feeling pulled into that when I was going through my divorce. And before I got divorced, you would look at people, I would look at people and kind of, oh, like they're so bitter. Like, how do you get to that point of being so bitter? Like, I'll never be like that. Right. And then all of a sudden, when I was going through my divorce, I felt myself getting pulled into that bitter. And I remember one day saying, I don't want to be like that. And I decided, like, same with, what you did is I decided I don't want to be that bitter person. Like, I don't want to be bitter. I want to be confident and I want to be positive and I want to do what's best for me. And so that switch, right? Even though the situation didn't change, the circumstance didn't change, like there was still lots of stuff going on, but it was just that decision, like, how am I going to show up today? I can show up bitter and miserable and angry, or I can show up, feeling like I have a choice in the matter, or feeling like I want to do something different with my life, or I can decide that I'm going to see what the lesson is out of all this. So, so thanks for sharing that, because I think that that's such a great thing to recognize, that we do have that choice, even though things are, you know, maybe crumbling around us, right?
Hmm. Definitely. And then being not in that bitter state, it almost like physically, like it kind of felt like, is it Lord
Mm.
of the Rings and Gollum where you're just like, ugh, right? And like once you sort of like let go and accept, and sort of like I was able to put my energy and focus into other things that was
Mhm.
better to serve others and myself. And of course,
Mhm.
my kids, like my
Yeah.
kids want to see more of a happier version of mom, not this like stressed out, like balloon that's about to pop, right?
Yeah.
So it felt so much like I almost want to like sit up a little straighter, because like instead of being like this, it's like okay. So, and it felt good not to like put all that energy like on those topics, or like something that was said and it's like like I'm gonna dwell on that point. I'm gonna let it bug me all day. And it's like, no, like let's not give energy to that. let's
Yeah.
let's focus on the things that are better, and like, try and come to a solution, compromise, work it out, and then move on, and with your what you're doing to do
Yeah.
like good.
Yeah, because where you put your energy is what's going to manifest, right? So if you're putting your energy into something negative, and you're putting your energy into dwelling on that or ruminating on it, or, just again focusing on something that's super negative, that's dragging you down, like guess what? Your frequency, right? Your vibration is going to get dragged right down into that depth. And like you mentioned, it's really it becomes like the more you're in that space, the harder it is to pull yourself out of that space. So it's recognizing, okay, I'm getting pulled into this negative frequency. Okay, what do I need to do to stop that?
Yeah.
And I'm curious for you, like, what do you do to turn that around? Like when you find those days or those moments in your day where you're like, okay, I feel myself maybe getting a little bit into that negative state. What do you do to get yourself out of
Well, if
that?
I'm just at home and can't leave the house because I've got the kids, and maybe it's like weather like it is today, I'll notice it physically first. Like I start getting
Mm,
tense, and then like I feel it, like you feel like you're almost gonna like blurt out something that you probably shouldn't say, and it's like, oh, that doesn't feel very good. So it's like I
mhm,
take a moment and I breathe. And for me, like I think that's why the dance was so huge, is it's healing through dance, or through me healing through movement. Like I got to get up and I got to move around, and whether that's
Mhm.
just walking around the house or dancing with the kids in the kitchen, or doing something movement related, I find that really helps me
Mhm.
kind of get. And then also listening to good music, like, and maybe that's
Mm.
where it also helps with the dance. So look,
Mhm.
I'll put on a good music. It's funny because my daughter, I think my daughter and I are a lot like, so there'll be a song like I kind of feel emotions from songs, and she does too. So we'll be in the car and like a sad song will come on, and we'll both almost say it at the same time, like, oh yeah,
Mm.
no, we need the happy song. Like let's switch that narrative, or let's switch that, and like let's do something. Here's something happy, because it's so easy, like music wise, you hear something sad and it's like, oh my gosh, it kind of puts you in like, and there's nothing wrong with sad music. There's some really
Mhm.
nice music like that. But for me, it's like I need something upbeat, I need something energetic, something that's gonna like help me start thinking about something happy.
Yeah.
Or you know,
Yeah.
and I mean, if it's nice outside, I'll usually like, okay kids, let's go to the park or go do something. And like I don't actually mind the rain today, it's kind of nice because we haven't had it. But like, oh, when it's like a sunny day with blue sky, like it's just so nice to go be outside. And then like the other thing I do is like I love talking to my friends and people and you. And so it's like sometimes if it's like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm getting in that zone, it's like, oh, got to go see the, my community of friends and ladies. And
Mhm.
even like connecting with my boyfriend, because he's so sweet and nice and supportive. And just like, if sometimes if I have something that's bothering me, I'll talk with him or my friends just to get off my chest. But then like I'll start off with, I need to get this off my chest, and I want to say it, but I don't want to talk about it for very long. Because if I talk
Mm.
about it for too long, then you kind of stay in that zone. So it's like, like I kind of put a, let's talk about it for a bit, and then let's like
Mm.
talk about something else fun, something to look forward to, something that we're working on that makes us happy. So it's like, it's really, I don't know, like I said, embracing the pivot. Like, let's take that and go, let's move away from this.
Yeah, I love that, right? Like you're acknowledging that you're feeling something that's maybe negative, and it's good not to store it inside your body, right? Because it does manifest in our physical senses, but you're putting a boundary around it, right? Like you're saying, I want to get it off my chest, I want to get it out of my body, I want to dance, right? Move the emotion through, let it dissipate, like let it, like I want to feel it, and then okay, now we're moving on to, again, I'm making a decision to move on to something that's more high energy, or that's more forward moving, right? Or that's just gets me into more energetic space.
Yeah.
Tell me about the power of community. Like you talk about that a lot. You talk about connections, and I mean, your business is called Amanda Connects or Amanda Networks. Networks is
Yep.
all about connection, right? So, talk to me about the power of community and what you're learning about that.
I find it's like through Lindsay's events, through even the event that I'm working on right now, and multiple Zoom calls we've had over the last few days. It's been really interesting when you can create something where you can bring people together and have them learn about each other, but also about each other's businesses and what they have
Mm.
to offer. It's pretty neat, like where you can find out about these things and then find out, oh, I never knew there was someone that did that. I'd actually be really interested in that. Or I know someone who might need your help or assistance. And it feels so good to be able to like connect with people like that. And then also like on a personal level, like maybe there's other people that have gone through divorce, or there's other people that have gone through different types of grieving that you may have too, that you can offer like assistance if they want,
Mhm.
based on kind of what you've gone through.
Mhm.
So like it's really neat when you can have this community to bring together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I share that experience too. And it's really interesting because whenever I have workshops or, a retreat or something like that where I'm bringing women together, and I always hear something along the lines of, oh, I thought I was the only one, right, going through this thing. And even though we're all going through maybe different things, like maybe you meet yeah, sure, maybe you're even going through a divorce, but it's a different situation, different, like we all have our own unique, experience on it, our own unique lens on it. But I find it, it does really hurt my heart when I think that someone's going through something alone, because we're not meant to do anything alone, right? We need community around us to support us and help us and guide us and pull us out and inspire us, right? And motivate us and support us. Like we're meant to be part of a community. And I feel like in our society we're getting more and more disconnected, even though we have all this technology to bring, to connect us. So I love that piece. And for me, and I know for you, one of, part of our mission is to bring people together and to let them know they're not alone, to let them know that even if all they want to do is talk or they just want to meet new people, that there are resources out there for them, that there is help for them. And I think we really, really, really need more of that.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, what was the name of the business that I came to that event? Was it a month and a half or two ago in Cochrane?
Mm,
So that was a really neat experience for me to be there with you and the other lady and all the women that were there. And it was really nice, and it felt so supportive, right? And to hear some of those women, like, it was actually challenging for them based on where they're at to actually like get out of the house and come, but they were so glad they did, and they felt welcomed and they felt supported, and it's like what they needed. They needed that little bit of community to help them sort of start stepping out of, I guess, their comfort zone to a place where they can get to where they can heal.
mhm,
And like, yeah, that was just, it was such a nice space to have there. And then, like, the company I'm working for now is called the Spark Group. And so that's one thing, like, this founder lady, Catherine, she is absolutely amazing. She is one of the nicest, most genuine ladies that I've ever met. And she truly wants to help and make an impact for so many people out there in the community. But that's one thing she's actually really good at, and it's very natural how it comes to her, is wanting to bring people together, wanting to help promote other people's businesses, initiatives, the impacts that they make, the charities around town.
mhm,
Um, and so we're having a huge event on October 19th. So it's going to be like a bit of a launch party slash event for the Spark Group. So you can come and learn about, what we're going to be doing. It's family friendly. It's
mhm,
from 2 to 10 p.m., but it is all about like bringing people together. So that's one thing I've actually really learned over the last few days talking on these Zooms with all these different people is it's so many people want to be involved. So many people want to be there to help, and it's very much going to be a community type thing. So we're really, really excited about that. And I hope there's people out there that are maybe going through divorce or something challenging, and it's good for them to know, like, this is a very friendly, grassroots, not fancy event that we're having at the Chinese Cultural Center. And it's a great place to just go out and meet other people. So, like, we've got all three floors plus the auditorium. So there's going to be a lot of yin and yang energy. There's going to be a lot of fun activities for the kids. There's going to be sound bowl healing and
mhm.
meditation aspects of it. So it's a lot of fun different things. And so, like, I encourage people, even people that are struggling now, and maybe you're in that negative, challenging, bitter place, and maybe you might need something like this to look forward to go out and take your mind off some of the things. So something I've been saying lately, like, in life, when times get challenging or you're in a state of sadness or grief, like, the thing about Spark Group is, like, what's your spark? What do you go to in your times of grief, in sadness, in challenges, to get yourself out of that? And
Mhm.
if you don't have that, we should help find something for you.
Yeah,
Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? Because we don't want anyone to be in that. Like, I just think about it. I don't want anyone to be in
Mhm.
that bitter, angry, hateful, negative state, because I know what it feels like, and it's not a
Mhm.
good feeling. So
Yeah.
if there's any ways to bring awareness to it and to help others, like that's what we're all about. I know that's what you're all about. Like it's just so nice to be able to help people.
Yeah. Well, and I've been saying a lot lately that it takes a village, right? We need a community around us for lots of different things, right? And for lots of different reasons. And there's times in our life where we need more support, right? And there's times in our life where we're able to give support. And it's knowing, when we need to ask for help. And I think sometimes for women, especially, that can be challenging, admitting that we need help, asking for help, thinking that we're, going to be an obligation to somebody or we're just going to be a burden to somebody. And, that's so not true because there's so many people that want to help and support. And like I said before, we need to be surrounded by people that are supporting us. That's how we heal. That's how we learn. Um, and the other thing you mentioned too is, this piece around collaboration, right? Like, how can we bring people together and support other businesses or support other women? And I feel like part of that is kind of this feminine, nurturing power that I feel like we're embracing it more and more as a society. We need both, right? We need the masculine energy. We definitely need the feminine energy. But how do we do that? Like, how do we embrace the fact that we're nurturing, caring, empathetic women, right? Like you and other women like this, Catherine, right? And like, I think we just need more of that in the world. And so the more that we can do that, and I always say, ask for help, like reach out, right? There's going to be someone that can connect you to somebody else, right? Maybe you'll learn something, right? Or get out of the house, right? You'll connect with somebody that's going to help you. And when you ask for help, like the help shows up.
Yes. Yeah.
So how can people learn more about you and also more about this event? Is there a website? Is there like a social media page?
Yeah, so I just posted a video about it this morning from Spark's Instagram is to spark for joy, which we thought was quite sweet because we want to spark joy in people.
Mhm.
We want this to be like a joyful event where you can create memories with your family. So it's to spark for joy, and then it's also sparkgroup.ca. So
Mhm.
I'll, of course, be helping share all the content from the website and the Instagram with Amanda Networks as well, because I'm very, as you can tell, very passionate and excited about this. And honestly, it comes from a very thankful place to be able to be part of something like this. And this is actually an interesting story. So this came to be actually because of Lindsay.
Mhm.
So this is an interesting story. So at Lindsay's, remember our Stampede event that we had?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I met another lady there named Kathy, and she won my door prize. And so Kathy is new to Instagram, doesn't know too much about how to do the Instagram side of things. And she's very passionate about bands, like music and live music here in Calgary. And so she's like, I'd like you to help me promote these events and give me a little bit of education and help me make some posters. And I'm like, okay, great. This is fantastic. So I helped Kathy do this. And she loved the help that I gave her. She's honestly, the lady is an angel. She's quite sweet. And then through Kathy, she's like, you need to meet my friend Catherine. She's amazing.
Mhm.
I'm just going to set it up. And I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. And then I had the opportunity to meet Catherine, and then the three of us sat there for like 2 hours hitting it off. And then this is how it came to be. And like, it just made me think of it because this whole power of connection.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much in there, right? It's the power of connection, right? The power of community, the power of women wanting to support other women, making a decision that I'm just going to be open to this, right? Like I remember you at that event and you were like, I kind of do this. I kind of think I want to do this, but I'm just open to connecting with people. I know I want to help people, right? And you're asking for help and you're asking for those connections and you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And I think that's the thing, like making the decision, right? Knowing that you need to make a change in your life, even though it's really scary and there's a lot of stuff that is uncertain and like all the negative things come bubbling up, right? But it's making the decision that I'm going to do it anyways and trust, right? Like trusting the universe will provide, right? It's opened up these doors with these like the universe gives us opportunities through people, right? But we need to step into that, And
Right.
like to your point, when you said earlier, if we just stayed home, like it's not going to fall into our lap, right? We do need to decide that, okay, I'm going to do something that's out of my comfort zone.
Right.
I'm going to do something
Well,
different, right?
and it's funny how that event came up. So I didn't realize I'm actually really good at putting proposals together.
Mm,
And so I have this dream event that I will do someday, and it's a Healing Through Dance dream event. And I put together a whole proposal for it because I want to bring Gleb to town and I want him to be able to do a workshop so other people can feel like I felt. And it's like, yes, you can learn how to dance from this amazing celebrity dancer who is a unbelievable teacher. I've never met any teacher like him. So I want to bring him to town. And then I was, of course, like, ooh, I want to bring him to town. But then there's like, I'm going to make like a really neat event about this. And like, I'm going to add certain aspects to it, including like a live painter, like a live
mm,
celebrity painter also from LA. And so I came up with this event overview package and then this event sponsorship package. And it's like, it will happen someday. I know it will. And so I made this and I put it in a coil, like I got it printed out in a really nice package. And then I went and had lunch with Lindsay one day and I'm like, I just want to show you what I did because like I'm pretty proud of it and it's going to happen someday. And she's like, I had no idea you do this. And I'm like, yeah, she's like, this is really good. And she's like, can you help me coordinate my Stampede event? And so
mm.
I was like, yeah, for sure. I'll help you coordinate your Stampede event. And so that's how that kind of came to be.
Right,
And
right. That's really awesome. And I have zero doubt that that event's going to happen. And it's probably going to happen sooner than you think, Amanda. So I'm excited to be invited to that. um, but yeah, let's, I really appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty and your willingness to share your story and to inspire and to help and to connect. And you brought up the word gratitude, and I'm grateful to have met you. I'm grateful that you are in my community now. And I look forward to all the amazing things that you're going to do. So thank you so much, Amanda, for being on my show today.
oh, thank you for having me. This was great. I'm also very thankful to know you and be able to participate in that one event you had. But I look forward to the other events. I'm gonna try and make it to the October 3rd one too. I know you sent that to
Amazing.
me as well.
Amazing. Well, we're